There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonko table. That is the voice of Grandmaster Hoop coming at you from, I don't even know. I don't know where we are, but guess what? I'm afraid. I think we're all afraid, just like Beau. That's right, folks. We're here to discuss the new Ari Aster horror psychological thriller / I don't even know what you want to call it. Beau is Afraid. We're talking Beau is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix. Quite a it's a movie. We're here to talk about it. I don't even really know how to introduce this thing, but with me
it's a roller coaster. It's an absolute roller coaster of a film, a movie that can make you laugh like crazy and then just bring you down and make you feel like crap.
Well, you heard it here, folks. It's Supernova, Dr. Mondo, giving us a nice intro to what is Beau is Afraid. Let's see, as we discuss, whether or not any of those things hold true, or if there's a deeper, richer content here. But that's a good start. Well, also here is fellow Yonko, Dr. Jason Turney. Dr. J, said any sentiments you share with what Dr. Mondo just said about Beau is Afraid?
I just want to say it in the accent of the forger from
The armorer.
the forger. She's the forger. Beau is Afraid. I just wanted to do that. I like that.
Oh, I see what you did there.
All right.
Very clever.
No, this was a great movie. I feel like it won't be everyone's cup of tea, especially with what you may expect from an Ari Aster film. Coming in, I call this his trilogy until he makes a fourth movie, kind of like the Jordan Peele trilogy. He hits you over the head with a frying pan with like what he's gonna leave his mark on, and that's Hereditary, and you're like, damn, this is modern horror. That's what's up. Then he hits you with Midsummer. I can't speak on Midsummer, but I hear great things about Midsummer. And then he comes in with Beau is Afraid. Equal parts, like Dr. Mondo was saying, comedy specifically from the absurdity. There's a lot of absurdity.
And, like, not only is it absurd, but it's just like, oh, come on. Like, it's very dark humor, and you just like, you laugh at what's happening because like you kind of pity the characters, like, oh, come on. And then it's like, oh my God.
There's a part where I feel almost guilty whenever I laugh at this character. And I think that's the intent.
And honestly, you said it there. Guilty. Guilt is the premise of the entire movie.
Guilt.
Wow. Guilt is a strong central thread throughout the film.
This movie is honestly a huge ass guilt trip.
How many layers?
I think it's a guilt trip on one side. I don't think it's a whole. No. I think that's one perspective. Well, I mean, we'll get into it, because that's kind of the that's one character's leading argument, But Dr. Jason alluded to it a little earlier, because this is Ari Aster, came on the scene whenever Hereditary came out. I think 2014, maybe 2018. No, I'm sorry, only 2018.
Okay, I was about to say, there's no way.
Yeah, only 2018.
Okay, 2018
for Hereditary, and then
Midsummer was like a year or two later.
Yeah. Midsummer 2019.
Yeah. So it's been a 4-year hiatus.
Right. Yeah. 4 years. Are y'all? So you haven't seen Midsummer?
I have not seen Midsummer. No.
Dr. Mondo, have you seen any Ari Aster films?
I think I saw Midsummer, but I saw it a while ago. like a while. I didn't see Hereditary.
Okay, and Dr. Jason, you did
Oh,
see
wow.
Hereditary.
I did see Hereditary. Interesting. You've seen both.
I have seen both. And it's I guess it's, to call this a trilogy, I guess. I mean,
Obviously
I think,
not a trilogy in the
Yeah,
sense
no, I
of
don't
it's
mean
not a connected universe.
yes, no, it's not. It's not. But the three films, like, he's a horror director at heart. I think yes, there are times where this film can feel like a comedy or a dark comedy, for sure. But also, I don't know. I look at all three films and I'm like, Hereditary is like a straight up horror.
Yeah.
Right. Given that premise, it's like, it's scary. Like, that movie's hard to watch again for that premise. If you've seen Midsummer, I think many people find it really horrific because it's very realistic. Like, you can believe what there are cults out there, and there are things they will do that will freak you out, and that's pretty much that movie. And then this one, I feel, is very much kind of a horror-esque look into one's psyche. Because as we'll talk about, many things that we see in this film regarding Beau and what he's experiencing, I think this movie makes you question whether or not what you're watching is to be taken literally or figuratively. And that's
yes.
yeah.
A
And I
lot
think
of
that's the
points
scary
in the-
part.
No, a lot of points in the movie, it's like because it's like this magical realism that there is like throughout the entire movie. It's very like, it kind of reminds me a little bit like it's grounded in realism, but there is like a lot of fantastical, almost absurd elements to this. It's very
Absurd's a good word. Absurd's a really good word.
If you're gonna go with like literary pieces that are very similar to this, like Gabriel Garcia Marquez, like 100 Years of Solitude, this type of thing. It's like this absurdity, this fantastical world, but there's still like some degree of realism there. And at certain points, you're just like, okay, you're in it for the ride, but you start actually like thinking, okay, maybe like this is maybe not my reality, but this is Beau's reality. This is the way Beau sees the world. It's like maybe again, like you go to his neighborhood, which is just like, what the heck is going on there? It's just like crime, depravity, debauchery.
Dr. Mono, let me pause you real quick. And then I want you to finish your thought. If you guys have been listening this far into the pod, I need to emphasize, go in as blind as possible to watch this movie. Don't look up any plot details. Don't look up any reviews. Go in only knowing what the title of the film is. He's afraid. He's very afraid. And I think you'll be surprised where the story goes. But Dr. Mondo, go on with what you were saying.
And don't listen any further into this pod.
Don't listen for yes. Come back after you've seen the movie.
After.
But yes. I just wanted to throw that out there while, before we get into any specific plot details. But go on. You were saying about the city.
No, so yeah, like you see this city that is just, like a crime haven, everything that you picture going wrong with society in a single neighborhood. And it just goes to, you were saying like, that's impossible. This cannot be happening. But that is how Beau sees the world. And we're just seeing, like, the movie is just us seeing it through his eyes. Although, like, how he's experiencing everything, maybe like a lot of like psychological disorders aside and all that, he's afraid. He's afraid everywhere he turns. It's like, oh, they're gonna kill this guy. They're gonna steal your luggage. They're gonna do this and that and this. It's like he's just afraid. Everything is through his eyes.
It's a good comparison to anxiety.
Yeah,
I think it's a very good comparison to that, because like people that are that have anxiety, they tend to over guess or overthink about the worst case scenarios in certain situations, just like Beau in this sense, where like I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but we have a little scene where he forgets his keys and he's trying to go drink water from the local the dollar store or the corner store, and he goes outside and he's thinking, okay, if I leave this phone book here, it'll leave the door open. Hopefully no one goes in. And when he goes to buy the water, he looks over, he's like anxious. The entire city is going into his apartment.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh,
no. $1.79. And it's like,
I'm gonna call the police.
like, and it's the absurdity and the anxiety where it's like that's what he thinks is going to happen, and in his world, it is happening. It is happening.
And like there's certain little details, like in.
Let me pause you real quick. Let's just set up what's going on.
What kicks us off?
Let's go into this thing and let's peel it back. We meet Beau. I think we meet. We'll just go. Yeah, we meet Beau. Going to therapy sessions, clearly, dealing with some anxiety, dealing with some stress, gets a call. He plans on visiting his mother, who we could tell their relationship is not a-okay. It's not the best.
Seems strained.
Strain's a great word. And as you said, he gets his stuff stolen, and therefore he's gonna miss his flight. And from there, his mother freaks out. And then I think a day later, we find out his mother has passed. A chandelier fell on her head and decapitated her. And so now he's on a journey to go, settle things with his mother's estate. And that's kind of the plot. And
that's the
here we are moving through him here. And I think to go about this, you got to set up there's like 4 major settings in this movie. So the first one is, yes, the city, Beau's apartment, the surrounding neighborhood. And as Dr. Mondo has stated, you're seeing a lot of it through Beau's eyes. Now, at first, I think watching this movie, I don't think you think like that right away.
Yeah, because in the therapy session, it looks very like a normal therapy session. It's when he goes out into the city that you're like, what is this absurdity that's going on here?
So watching the movie, I was just like, what is this city he's living? I did not look at it as, oh, this is just in his head until maybe it'll start a little later on in the movie. And in this part, I just find so funny. Like,
yeah, it's hilarious.
Sprinting home. The people trying to get into the apartment.
No, and it's just funny. It's it's kind of like the city, right? It looks like everything's on repeat.
Yes.
It all looks like it's on repeat. Like the same guy is dancing all the time.
Oh my God, the dancer.
It's so and like they chop this guy's head off that's on the street, and it looks like it's been there for God knows how long.
Right.
And the police just keep on going back and forth. And
then there's that the stab man is out on the
stab man. The way they describe him.
I don't remember his name.
Naked, the name was so funny, and I can't remember. It was like Naked McStab or something.
Naked McStab or something. But the way they describe him is funny as hell, because instead of saying like, oh yeah, he's just this white dude or whatever, is like I said, he is uncircumcised. That's how they describe him.
Oh my goodness.
It's a necessary description so you can identify him.
I find this just all this, it was funny to watch because and then just looking back, it really probably is just that of an anxious mind. And then Dr. Chase pointed out, yes, that phone book scene where he's because he's taking meds, and part of his,
and like one of the meds says like, don't take it without water. You must always take it with water.
The water,
and he starts like
looking, turned off.
He starts like looking, like what's gonna happen. But like it again, like that kind of highlights what happens there, because like even in the therapy session, it's like you know, again, the movie title, Beau is afraid, you know, like, and you're seeing like the anxiety, like he's afraid. Like he even asked his therapist in one little part, I forgot what it was. It's like, oh, I think of like I accidentally like swallowed mouthwash or something. And it's like, will something happen to me? It's like again, he's afraid. It's like he's he's guilty that he did that. Like, and you kind of go a lot of the times, it's like he feels like afraid and guilty. It's all these emotions, and you're seeing how he sees the world because of those emotions.
And from
At least
there,
the first scene.
no. I think it definitely this first act, let's call it the first act. It's a 3-hour film. Definitely sets up very much kind of his worldview. You know, he's worried about the mouthwash, worried about not drinking it with water. And then goodness. Okay. And then obviously this is from his point of view, but then we have scenes with the intruder in his home who he would not help before. In this scene, again, I think the movie Ari Aster does a really good job at what is real and what is not. The dude is hanging from the ceiling of his bath. Help me.
No, and he's just like looking there like, what the hell do I do?
You know what makes this comedy work? There's a word for this style of comedy. And it's used a lot in like shows like South Park. Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they're really good at this. And they had like a whole spiel about what type of comedy they home in on for South Park. And it's something very simple. It's like the way they tell their stories. What makes, you know, some South Park episodes really, really funny is that everything is a consequence of something that happened previously.
Yeah,
you know,
everything is connected.
Right. When you start from point A, you see the connections and the dominoes that make you end up somewhere at point Z or point Y at the end of it all. And I like this because from the moment you meet Beau, everything that he does and everything that happens to him, it results in the next scene happening. And you get it in the first 5 minutes. But like when Beau goes upstairs and he goes to sleep, he's gonna go for his flight to visit his mother the next morning. There's loud music playing. I'm sorry. There's someone giving him notes underneath his door, say, can you turn your music down? Can you please turn it down? And so obviously Beau's not playing music, but because of that, the person next door, the neighbor, plays his music very loudly. That causes Beau to oversleep. He can't get any sleep, so he sleeps in. Oh no, I woke up too late. My flight leaves in an hour. Now he's anxious. Now he's running around trying to put his stuff together. And then he forgets his keys in the door. Because he forgot his keys, he can't go see his mother. Because he can't go see it. Like, everything is a result of something else. And I absolutely love that about the movie. That's what made everything funnier, because it's just a domino effect. It's a long domino effect.
The movie is a long domino effect. That is so true.
I feel that works too, because anxiety pretty much works like a domino effect. You're anxious about what might happen next as a result.
Right.
And so literally, you know, like his mom gets upset, then she dies, and then now he's like worried about having to go settle the estate, and now this dude is hanging from his ceiling, and they tumble in the bathtub because of the brown recluse. And then I thought this scene was probably the funniest, where he runs out naked.
Oh my god!
And because of that, they think he's the McStabber, and like the McStabber actually.
Oh wow! I didn't even piece it like that together. So, like, they thought he was
the McStabber sees him. So like the McStabber starts. I think the McStabber
stabs him.
No. First he goes.
First
to
it's the cop. It's the cop.
He goes to the police. And I know this scene, Grandmaster was just losing it.
Freeze! Don't move!
Don't make me do this!
Don't make me do this!
And he's like, I'm not doing anything. What the hell?
He is standing completely motionless.
Well, I was laughing because one, yes, because again, there's a level of absurdity. Here's a naked man, clearly has no weapon, and this cop is about to shoot him. And then on top of that too, I'm like, damn, is this a commentary on police brutality and
Just
whatnot?
a dash of reality in there.
Why are they gonna really shoot this man who's clearly just kind
He
of
is
unstable?
naked.
Right,
He has
and then
nothing.
then he starts getting stabbed.
Oh, well, like
That's
they
when
thought-
McStab comes
like
in.
he thinks he had a weapon because he had the little statue.
He had the little statue.
Oh
yeah.
yes,
He had
Yeah.
the little statue,
the
And-
Mary statue, right?
and and they're the real McStabber.
The real McStabber.
The real
Like-
McStabber comes in, and one thing leads to another, and,
Why?
and then he's hit by a car.
He gets hit by a car, and and he gets hit by a car, and that leads us to like kind of the next set piece. He's with his family, Grace and Roger, played by Amy Ryan and Nathan Lane.
Nathan.
And
Oh.
yes, that's Nathan Lane.
Nathan Lane.
For those of you who don't know, Timon.
Timon.
I knew I heard his voice. I'm like, who is this guy? Who is he?
Yep, that's him.
He was in Mouse Hunt. Y'all remember Mouse
Yeah.
I did not watch Mouse.
Oh,
Oh
Mouse
my
Hunt
God.
is a gem.
Hunt? I love that.
Mouse
I
Hunt's
love that
a
movie,
gem.
but it is so
Didn't you put me
bad.
onto the Birdcage, Dr. Mondo?
What?
The Birdcage? Oh, never mind. It wasn't you.
I have no idea.
No, like
Oh.
I've seen the Birdcage, but
Stuart
Oh.
Little. Oh my God.
Yes, he's
Yes.
the cat in Stuart Little.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm flabbergasted.
Yes,
I knew
Nathan
this was
Lane.
someone big. I'm like, who is this guy?
Yes, got many credits. Very
Wow,
good.
wow.
I just
Lane.
love him in this movie. He's my dude.
Oh, he's pretty great in this movie too. Yeah. I think so this sequence I feel is probably the most down to earth sequence, and then there's like splashes of kind of
the absurdity.
So they're obviously trying to help him. They're being good people. They offer to take him to his mother's estate. And he doesn't want, and again, it's kind of with the anxiety, he doesn't want to harp on their day. He doesn't want to
And not only that, again, like it goes along the feelings of guilt. And I think we didn't talk about this like in the prior scene. I'll say it very quick. When all the things with his luggage happen, his keys that he loses, and he calls his mom makes him guilt trips him.
gaslights him. Yep, absolutely.
Gaslights him, makes him feel like crap for what happened to him, right?
I was
And-
gonna beg the Lord to punish me for thinking Beau won't come.
You don't
And
get that
then-
yet.
And
I
then
did get that.
when he's in Grace and I forgot the character's
Grace
name.
and Roger.
Grace and Roger's house, the lawyer calls and he says it's like, your mom, 8th day that she remains, she is being ashamed. It's like, you must come here with a freaking suit. It's like, instead of saying like, I'm sorry for your loss, they're just saying, you better get your ass here.
The body has been out. It needs to be buried today.
Buried. And they're just guilt tripping, and he feels so guilty that he's not there burying his mom. It's like everything has to do with the feeling of guilt. But then like going back to like the more grounded setting, although it's the most grounded setting of the movie, it's still absurd as hell. Like,
Yes.
like because he wakes up in the daughter's room and like then he figures out, oh, like the son is dead, has been dead for God knows how long. They have almost a shrine of the kid, of him, and instead of giving his room, they kick out the daughter. And it's like, what? They're trying to like, oh, adopt Beau.
essentially, or have him be like a replacement for their
like
son.
a replacement.
Right.
And I think like this movie really it puts in a very like absurd and try to like funny but also pathetic ways. Like it's a very jumbled mix, like different sets of emotions, like anxiety, guilt, grief, all those kinds of things. It kind of meshes them in together but throws it at you in ways of absurdity and like way over the top.
This is
Even
where you meet Jeeves.
Yeah,
Jeeves.
PTSD.
Very
Gene is
PTSD.
Gene is PTSD.
Well, he's PTSD, but then they take it to the next
No, they take it
level.
to an absurd level. Like he still fully thinks that he's in that he's in the war, like that he's in Venezuela in Caracas, and like in the jungle. And it's
Right.
like they take it to extreme levels. And it's just like he's exploring different, almost like different psychological conditions there, or emotions, and just presenting and throwing it at you like a roller coaster.
Yeah, I think the whole thing with Grace and what was the guy? Roger, Grace and Roger. You know, it delves into, you know, holding on for something that's no longer there. And I actually like this where, you know, Beau does not want to intrude on sleeping in the bed of you know, the daughter of Grace and her husband. So he's always saying like, hey, you could take the room. She's, you know, she's not
like
she's not happy about it. She's pissed. But she's also like her being angry is not so much that, oh, there's a stranger in my room. It's also, you know, kind of the effect of her parents kind of focusing more on the dead
Neglect.
It's neglect
than her own daughter. And I feel like, you know, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but when you get that scene where, you know, what's the daughter's name again?
I think it's
Tony. Yep.
When Tony you know, she grabs Beau, they go into the brother's room, and her whole thing here is to like, you know, just trash the entire room, you know, spray paint all over it with like pink and blue and everything. But you know, in this instant, Tony is almost trying to you know, off herself in the same way. She drinks this gallon of paint, right? This gallon of blue paint. And I feel like that's symbolic in a lot of ways because, you know, blue is usually associated with boys, right? The pink is usually associated with girls. I feel like that was symbolic where the family's obsession over the son. It drowned out the daughter to the point of her wanting to kill herself in this. And I feel like that's really deep.
Not only that, it's like, you know, it kind of goes, unfortunately, because they appreciate, they value more the dead than the living, and they actually pay attention to her when she's dead.
Right, when it's too late.
Once she's dead,
in the same sense, you know, Grace is trying to give her mouth to mouth to try to, like, you know, resuscitate her, but to no avail. And she has blue paint on her lips too, because in the same way, she was not paying attention to her daughter. She was just focused, drowned out by her obsession for her son, who's no longer around, but her daughter's the one suffering the price for it. I thought that moment was really deep. Flowers to the actress that plays Tony. I hope this is like a kind of like a breakout role for her, because like she has that
did a great job.
Her name is Kylie Rogers, and she's also known for the hit Showtime series Yellowstone.
Oh,
you can find her on Yellowstone.
There is, I mean, she has this blood-curdling scream that's very hard to find for like horror-esque, you know, scream queens. I hope she breaks out and goes into other horror flicks, because I loved her in here. She was great. She was fantastic in Beau is Afraid.
I think this whole scene, it was very good, and like when you really look at it, it's like, just another level to peel back as far as kind of the human condition. You know, this family was going through loss. They do what they can to help others, and yet they completely missed that their daughter was the one screaming for help the loudest. And from there, and see again, earlier we said, this film is through Beau's point of view. I have no idea if this scene is actually from his point of view or is this is actual reality.
I think it was reality.
This is the scene that, like, even in the absurdity, it's very grounded that you can actually believe to a certain extent what's happening.
To an extent, but then you have Grace, Jeeves.
No, and
rip him apart.
No, and not only that, what is it? I think when Grace, I think, gives him the control of the TV.
Channel 78.
That Beau not only sees like the camera of the house, he sees into the future.
Was that the future?
That was the future.
Because he was fast forwarding on the TV, and you could see like when he's at the lake, when he's hitchhiking on the road,
when he's at his mother's home,
when he's at the mother's home. So he did fast forward a little bit.
Okay, and so I think Aster does a really good job here as just keeping you guessing the whole entire film.
What's really going on?
Yeah, what's really going on? Like, is this happening? Is this all planned? Is Grace and Roger like in on what's going on? Or is this just all in his head?
Because,
and I don't think you ever get a clear-cut answer, even by the end of the film.
Right. I know at this point, Beau is still trying to get home. He's only recovering at this place temporarily. And he's hoping to get a ride from Roger. And one thing keeps leading to another, and that trip keeps getting delayed. And Beau keeps telling Roger, I need to leave right now. You don't understand. And it's just, oh, Beau, I just got 3 surgeries pushed up to today. What are the odds, buddy? And it's like, wow, like he's trying his best. Ultimately, he doesn't go on the trip with Roger. That would have been too easy. And that's where, Tony kills herself. And then Grace tells Jeeves, rip him apart.
And Jeeves just been waiting for that command.
Jeeves wanted the excuse. He wanted the excuse. All those times where he's just standing in the background, just breathing like a Hulk, like he's, let me do it. Let me do it.
And let me tell you, Aster's really good at that. He does that a lot in Hereditary. Like, if there are certain scenes in Hereditary, you don't see these witches just in the corner.
Like, did you all notice like the 2 times that Tony just like knocks on, I think it's Jeeves, right?
Jeeves.
Yeah.
Jeeves' trailer? Yeah, she knocked on his trailer, and
she had some kind of relationship with Jeeves.
Yeah, and it's like what the hell is going on there?
I didn't look further into it, but
I didn't think it was
there.
That.
It was. No, I don't think like that. But there's like a connection between. Outside of it, he's just staying there.
As to what it was, I guess it's up to interpretation. But like clearly, she kind of goes to him as like a form of, the way I saw it was, she goes to him as a form of protection.
Yes.
Like that's, I can't go to my own father. I come to you for this type of stuff. As to what type of things he was telling Jeeves about Beau, because she would talk to him, and then they would both look at Beau. God, I don't know how this man sleeps. But yeah, no, the full on sprint into the forest, right?
Yeah.
And Jeeves on the hunt. Well, actually, no. Jeeves first has got to stock up on his gear.
Gotta get his gear. Got his Bowie knife.
His vest,
some grenades and stuff.
He's got some grenades in there.
Oh, like he went full Rambo there.
Full Rambo.
Yeah.
And this is kind of where maybe I need to see the movie again, but this is kind of where the film kind of derailed for me.
Yeah, I started getting lost at this point.
Is this forest segment?
The theater group,
right? Specifically, the play that the theater group was putting on. I feel like it went on for way too long, and maybe it's because I wasn't getting it. Like I saw it as just kind of like the life that Beau could have had he, broken free from the shackles of his mother, which, by the way, like, even up until now, you learn bits and pieces of Beau's past life, like through these little flashbacks, and you really see that this mother was very manipulative. She clearly had this love for her son, but I think they say it in the movie, or maybe Grandmaster, you and I talked about it at some point. The love was conditional. It was not
Yes,
unconditional love that she
the
was
love
giving.
the love was conditional, and on top of that, Beau could not express any sort of sentiment of love or anything close to it with anybody else. It was all supposed to be reciprocated back at the mother, and if it wasn't, he would be punished for it.
Not even like if it wasn't in the way that she wanted.
Right.
He wanted it and it was a way that you could never satisfy, no matter what Beau did.
I think it really is, to a certain degree, for maybe the first and only time in the movie, Beau kind of lets go of his guilt and his fears. So because like the play starts right, you know, like the two tombs and the chain that he's
Right.
like chained, and it's like very literal, you know, and like he breaks the shackles, and like so it like the play, and Beau is watching this, and Beau inserts himself.
Yes.
Right.
Beau inserts himself into the play, and he starts kind of like looking into his life, and it's like he's not like thinking it like this, but like you as the viewer, you're kind of going along this. It's like this, now that his mother is gone, maybe the shackles that, like, she was the shackle that was
she
keeping
was the
him there.
shackles. Right.
She was the shackle that was keeping him there, making him feel afraid, making him feel all this guilt. Because as you said, like the conditional love, that way he was manipulated, made to be afraid of everything except her being like his rock. And now that she is gone, he can travel freely across the world. And, you know, he inserts himself into this tale as him, the hero, and seeing what, in a way, his life could have become or could be. And so, and I think that's what this scene overall does, is Beau letting go. To a certain degree, he's letting go. But then I think like a random ass dude from the audience starts talking to Beau, and Stell's like, "Oh, I know you. I know who you are." And then it's like it kind of brings Beau back. And I was like, "Wait, what?" And it's like, "Oh, like your father." Wait, what?
Something Beau has been questioning.
Something Beau has been questioning.
Life.
So now, like, these feelings of guilt, of fear, are starting to change into other types of feelings. You know, like it's like feelings of like doubt, and to a certain degree, like anger a little bit towards what's going on here. It's like, I thought you were dead. It's like I thought you were dead. I thought he was dead. You know, like what the hell? I've been lied
right.
to.
There's
It's like now, like the feelings of guilt, like this fear is being, another feeling is taking over now.
There's two elements that I think Beau's mother played in terms of kind of like what his trauma was growing up with her. One of them, of course, is how secretive she was about his father. And you get that very disturbing scene. I really liked it. It's that scene where like it's just her face, and it's like it's flashing from darkness to like red and blue. And this is where she tells him, you know, you're again. There's still like it's a very
level of absurdity.
It's very absurd, but at the same time, it's unsettling. Just the way she's telling it and the way it's being shown to you as an audience member. She's telling him that, you know, your father died the day that we got married. More specifically, the day that you were conceived. Even more specifically, the instant you were conceived.
And again,
he had a heart murmur, and he just died like on top of Beau's mother. And it's that thing in the back of Beau's mind that's been eating away at him, where it's like, okay, that's what she told me what happened to my father, but I've always wanted to know who my father was. My mother never talks about him. I've never seen pictures of him. And here you have this guy, which again, it makes you ask the question, is this real? Is it not? This guy comes out from the audience after this play about fatherhood that Beau just had this imagination for. And this guy's coming over here saying, hey, Beau, I'm your daddy.
And not only that, mate, and like also the play can be shown as like, you know, what Beau would have liked his life to be as well, you know.
I think that's how I saw it, as like what he wanted his life, or what it could have been. What it could have
I think what it could have been. And like the guy from the audience, it brings him back from reality and makes him start like questioning things for like maybe the first time. He starts questioning all these things, and it's really absurd. Like honestly, like I was laughing when she says like, on the instant that you were conceived. Like I was dying,
because like you're so entranced in how she's telling the story that for me, I'm like envisioning it in my mind. Before she gets to that point, I'm like, okay, pay attention to her words. What is she saying?
But again, it plays with the element of guilt. It kind of plays, because it's like basically she's telling him in a way, because you exist, your dad died. Like
I mean, it's not just guilt though. It's like, it's abuse.
It's abuse. It's manipulative, because it's like she's kind of saying it's like your existence caused like the man, quote unquote, she loved to die. And it's like, oh, but I'm gonna use like those fears like to control you.
She talks about it being hereditary. Ooh.
Beau has been raised to be afraid. He's been raised to be afraid.
It's very Rapunzel-esque story, where it's told, yo, listen to me, give me your love, and you'll be all right.
Well, you see also, outside of the mystery behind his father that she uses, you know, to like kind of lock him in place, she also and I think we kind of talked about it a little bit. She also uses his love for other women as also a lock to keep him in place. And we get that scene on the cruise ship, which, by the way, I remember asking you this in the theater. I was like, did they CGI Joaquin Phoenix's face on no. like and I looked it up. It's not. That boy just that's looks a real
like
person.
Joaquin Phoenix.
He looks exactly like it. I'm like, dude, there's got to be something there.
That's just perfect casting.
That's
his
insane.
name is Armin Nahapatian.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he looks just like Joaquin Phoenix. It's crazy.
Some people were theorizing that he's not a real actor, that he's like an AI synthesized.
Stop that. No, he's real.
It's just so uncanny valley, but like it fits the uncanniness of this film. But again, like on this ship, you meet I guess his first love interest, Elaine. And it's one of those things where you see Beau's mother almost seeing herself in a woman like Elaine, you know, someone that's like, you know, at a young age, very strong, very independent, goes for what she wants, gets what she wants. And in a way, she kind of applauds Beau for being interested in a woman like that. But at the same time, she like, oh God, it's just the way she's saying it.
She's threatened.
She feels threatened. She's like, that girl is the same exact thing that I am. But Beau's love and affection is going to go towards her instead of me. And it was so good, because again, you just get these weird scenes where, you know, they have their first kiss, Elaine and Beau. And then there's this like weird scene where like she's being taken away from her mother and she like breaks into Beau's room when he's asleep. Beau, wait for me. Wait for me, promise you'll wait for me. And you have the mother. The mother's not even like scared as to like someone breaking into her bedroom. She's like, Beau, how could you do this to me? How could you do this to me? My lord. I'm like, wow, this is again manipulation, emotional abuse. You know that cruise ship was not the end of Beau hearing that BS from her from his mother. You know, after that scene, it was guilt trip 24/7 after that.
And you know, on top of those flashbacks of Elaine, we also get the flashbacks of the bathtub where Beau sees himself in the bathtub. And his mother is taking him up to the attic.
Him. Right.
Up to the attic. And it's just, you know, another example of kind of the abuse and the manipulative nature of the mother. What's her name? Mona. Sorry. Mona. And that scene comes back later on. But yeah, you know, Beau watches this play, thinks about his life. This man now makes him question everything. And before we get answers, kaboom. Goodness. And again, you're like, what is happening in this movie? Jeeves comes in and starts shooting up the place, like blowing people up left and right with guns and grenades. And I'm left thinking, what is going on? Why is this a thing? And I'm left bewildered to whether or not this is actually happening. But Beau escapes. Does Jeeves die?
Jeeves dies. Yeah.
How did he die again? I don't even remember.
Like he kind of falls. I think he falls on the rifle, and the rifle just keeps shooting and shooting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It just and he's screaming. Ah!
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't with this movie.
No, like it's just like this movie is really the theater of the absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And like what happens after this? Like once he
escapes, he pretty much
the ankle bracelet, Jeeves.
Oh yeah,
bracelet.
Jeeves tries to shock him.
Which, by the way, I found it really funny that when Beau originally noticed that ankle bracelet, and he says, "What's this?" And Roger, it's clear as day. That's like a house arrest bracelet. And Roger says, "Oh, it's just a heart monitor, Beau. Don't worry about it. It's just a heart." I'm like, "What?
Don't worry about it, man.
Why is it on my leg?" It's oh god, just so funny. But right, Jeeves causes it to detonate. Beau loses consciousness. And then, but like from here, he actually, from there, okay, that's where I was losing it. From there, he goes and hitchhikes on the road.
And then he gets there. He gets there. His mom's
funeral's
place.
over. The service is over.
He missed the funeral. Everybody has pretty much left. He sees the decapitated casket.
My god! Open casket for a headless body.
Right.
But no, what's funny as hell, it's like they put a little like sign. Here's where the chandelier.
There's a plaque. There's a plaque.
There's a plaque. They left the dent in the flooring as well. I'm like, wow.
And the hook that the chandelier was hanging on is still up there. And it's like, what is this, a shrine? Like, what are we doing here? She passed away. Like, why are we commemorating this spot like it's like the same thing they did with the JFK spot? Like they got this is where the bullet impacted JFK. You can go to that road in Texas.
That's crazy.
Why is this a thing? And so from what here?
Beau just basically stays in the house until Elaine shows up. Surprise, Elaine.
No, but he starts seeing like he starts like going through his mother's stuff.
Oh, right.
And you start seeing and noticing that, where he was living. I think like she kind of had, I think like that property was hers.
She had tabs on everything.
She had tabs on everything.
Right.
Even the people in that city, wherever Beau was, their pictures are on the wall.
Yeah. Roger's on the
Roger, right?
Roger's on there. I feel like Grace
Roger's on there. The guy with the tattoo.
I didn't see Grace.
The
tattoo is in there.
They're all there.
Right.
They're all there. And
They're
it's
all there.
So it's like she's been fully keeping tabs on him.
Well, I think at this point, still like you're still asking questions because you're like, my God, like what? Why is there a picture of Roger? Why is there a picture of the tattoo guy? Is this in Beau's head? Because again, you're seeing that little timeline on the wall that shows like his mother used him for like the advertisements for like the business that she had and so on.
And a lot of the things that the business, like the mottos say, it's like 100% safe. It uses like, oh, it's very safe. It's like secure, blah, blah, blah. Like,
funny at what the irony in that where Beau never feels safe.
Exactly.
That it's poetry. It writes itself.
Well, he's thinking about all these things, but again, the arrival of Elaine, all that stuff's out the window now. Why is Elaine here? The girl of his dreams. Respects. Right, but it's like, he figures that he asked her, why didn't you ever contact me? The mother was paying her to not contact him.
Was that what it was?
She's on the payroll, yeah.
That's what was implied by her being an employee of the.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Right.
That makes sense.
That's why she never contacted. Because again, Mona's got to control everything.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. But now that Mona's dead,
you can do whatever the hell they want.
Well, they recreate that first kiss, which was sweet, I guess.
Right.
The next scene is just like funny.
Okay, again, here's where hilarious. So they proceed to go have sex and whatnot because they waited for each other this whole time. Mind you, Beau is scared the whole time because he thinks
he's gonna die.
He's gonna die.
And his enlarged scrotum is like the size of like a basketball.
No, and I think like Roger also comments on it. He says like, my dude, I think you have a case of epididymitis. It's like,
yeah, he pointed it, and I noticed it too. I'm like, that's absurdly large. Why is it? Because you see it like when he's going into the bathtub in the beginning of the movie. I'm like, did my eyes deceive me? Why was it so big? And so it's like, but there you could say that's a layer of an onion that needs to be peeled back. That's for lack of better words, that's Beau's sex drive being suppressed all these years because of the manipulation from his mother.
I don't think he's ever
he's never ever,
I mean, like ever even self done it,
right? No, yeah, it was likely a guilt thing. Oh, what? His mother apparently does not understand. Well, no, she understands that, but I find it as a visual cue for absurdity to show like, hey, by the way, Beau's never, he's never done it. Here's a visual cue to show that it's so big, it's about to explode. And I mean, Elaine and Beau, they started doing it. When Beau finishes, there's that even there's
Wait,
that.
Before he even finishes, when she puts on Mariah Carey, I lost it. When she put on "Always Be My Baby," that was incredible. I was like, "There's no way they're playing this song right now."
That was
funny.
What
kind of movie is this? Like, why is this song?
Like that scene, like I was dying. I was absolutely like,
I
no,
think
it's
you
just
burst through the
because
condom.
because you see her like she's enjoying, and Beau is just like, ah.
He's crying. He's
He's
scared.
afraid. He thinks he's about to die because that's how deep his mother got into his head.
He's
He
like,
thinks
wait,
this is death.
wait.
This is death. I'm about to die because the heart murmur. It's hereditary. My mother told me. And he finishes, and oh my god, literally the camera shot of just focusing on. I already knew what happened. The fact that they were focusing on Beau this entire time when he finishes, he's like, "Oh my god, I'm alive."
Well, there's a brief moment though where she's like, I felt that, like
Right,
it did
right.
come through, and then she
Right.
keeps going, and then he's starting to enjoy it, because he's
Right.
like, he didn't die, and then yes, that camera angle was absolutely perfect. You're like, why isn't Elaine saying anything? She was like
Why is
moaning
the camera
before,
not flipping to Elaine
and
to
then
show her reaction
oh,
or something?
I mean, they show her reaction.
Oh yeah. Oh god, that
Oh man,
Yeah,
stone cold.
she died.
all that.
That was hilarious.
And then the mother, Mona, appears and she's like, not even 24 hours and you're already in your mother's bed.
It was I, Mona.
Dun, dun, dun.
And right here, I thought the mother was supposed to be there as like a metaphor,
Yes.
or Beau was
Yes.
hallucinating. No, she was there.
She's there. She's there.
And immediately that started raising questions of like, no.
I think
There's
you
no
leaned at
way.
me. There was a point in the movie where you leaned towards me and I just said, listen, we just got to watch this movie and let this shit unfold. Because if we sit here and start questioning everything, we are never going to get to this movie. And here she is, alive and well. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? And not only that is she there alive, two people come and remove Elaine.
The housemaids.
Right. To take her to, I don't know.
An incinerator, maybe.
I
No,
guess.
I just it's just like she's already like rigor mortis has already set, and they're like,
Which is crazy. It's been like it's been like 30 seconds, 2 minutes. That's wild.
It was wild.
But yeah, no, like immediately you start asking questions like, was this all just a ploy from his mother? And it
to
was
get him back.
to get him back. It was as soon, and that's where Grandmaster Hoop, you were hinting at that line regarding I knew you losing your keys was a lot of BS, Beau. And had you actually showed up the next day, I was gonna turn over in my grave and tell God, how dare I doubt my son? How dare I doubt him for not coming? And it's like, wow, she orchestrated this entire odyssey of Beau from the beginning. Everyone involved. That's why you see Roger on the wall. That's why when Grace told him to turn to channel 78, bam, it's a camera looking at him. There's the therapy session that was being recorded this entire time. And you really see just how conditional Mona's love was for Beau. Nothing he could ever do would ever satisfy.
No, and not only that, the person that she killed to take her place was
the
nanny.
The nanny, right?
Oh, right. And the story that he told about the nanny was pretty. It's literally a reflection of Beau as well, because Beau's immediately thought is, you killed I forget the nanny's name. It started with an M also.
Martha, I think.
Martha.
And
You
not only
killed
that-
Martha? And he's like, and she's like, no, I didn't kill Martha. She volunteered.
She volunteered.
And he's like, what do you mean she volunteered? Her response is, I had to get her to stop. She was overjoyed. She was overjoyed at volunteering. And it's like, you know that wasn't it because it's part of the manipulation.
No, and it's
She does
not
it to
only
other
that.
people. She does it to everyone.
No, because again, Martha, because Beau did love Martha. Like
Yes.
even in the first phone call we get, Martha's the one that answers the
Martha's
phone.
the
She's
one
the
that
first
answers the
one.
phone.
She's
Correct.
the first one that answers the phone, and you hear like the tone. It's like she's very, oh, Beau, hey, how are you? It's
Loving
like,
and caring.
very loving,
Right.
very caring, asking him, and he's like, hey, Martha, can I speak to my mom? Sure, sure, sure. Like, like, and then you get the flashback of when he starts talking about Martha, like in the house, and it's Martha's the one that's tucking him in, like for him to go to bed. Like he has good memories of Martha, and again,
Right.
the mom saw Martha as competition.
Absolutely. I highly doubt Martha volunteered.
Like
More
she
like
saw-
voluntold.
and like and
Voluntold.
then and he says, I think at one point he says, Beau, when his mom appears, he's like, what the hell? But at the same time, he isn't like, how the fuck are you alive? Because he says, like, when he saw the body,
He saw the
He-
birthmark.
he saw the birthmark.
Right.
And he says,
knew-
like,
he knew she wasn't dead.
he knew, like, when he went there, he said, this isn't. And even, I think, if you go, I think the phone call with the UPS guy,
Who's
Oh,
Bill
that was one
Hader,
of the
by the way.
funniest. That was one of the funniest.
that was funny as hell. But
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, and I could be totally wrong, and I'll maybe have to rewatch the movie here, but does he ask first if it's Martha?
He no, he is asking I think he's asking, does he know her? And then he starts describing her, and by he hangs up to go confirm if it was her or not, because like Beau's in disbelief and he's like, it can't be her, it can't be. Then he calls back, yeah, it's her.
This is a movie. It's a 3-hour movie, but at the same time, it's something that I want to rewatch again, having known what happened ultimately, and see scenes like Dr. Mondo's pointing out. I want to see like the little things, like who did Beau ask for when he called the UPS guy? Did he sound more concerned over Martha, or was he distraught over Mona, his actual mother? I don't know if I can sit through another 3 hours of it, but
honestly, it was it wasn't a difficult 3 hours.
I think if you give yourself to the movie,
if you give yourself to the movie, time flies.
Because
Honestly,
there were multiple times in the movie where like my mouth was like left agape at what was going on, and I lost track of time. I couldn't say that about Quantum Mania or other 3-hour flicks that we've seen this year.
Quantumanium wasn't 3 hours. Thank you very much.
Oh, the Defender. Never mind.
I'm just saying it wasn't 3 hours.
He's coming and smashing from the
I
ceiling.
don't even know how many 3-hour movies came out this year. I'm just saying.
John Wick and Quantum Mania, they were the closest ones to 3 hours.
John Wick was closer, but
it was closer. They were both close. The point is, I know you want to defend Quantum Mania. My point is, this film was close to that 3-hour mark that we've been getting with a lot of films recently. But with this movie, I feel like if you really give yourself to it and just enjoy the ride, and not really enjoy the ride in the sense of, because I know people use that to say like, oh, just turn off your brain and just have fun. No, like really just be immersed in the absurdity that is going on with Beau and kind of have fun with it, but at the same time be chilled as to what is going on in the movie, whether it's with Beau himself, his surroundings, his the people he meets, his mother. Because like when he's talking with his mother, even right now in the end, it's like she is just like verbally assaulting him for everything. She's blaming him for every single thing, every single mistake that he's made to get there. And us as an audience member, we were with Beau this entire time. We know he tried his damn best to get to this damn funeral, but his mother's not having it. at all. And it's fun. It's funny in the sense like she's wrong. Like the scene with Roger, she doubles back on the Roger scene, right? Where she's like, what was it that Roger was offering him, like to go the next morning, or
it was to go right now at night or go the next morning, and he said go the next morning.
Beau said or Roger said?
No, because Roger said he would have to move around his stuff, so
So
didn't
Beau,
want
like, being considerate,
right.
He says, like, then it's fine. Like, we'll go tomorrow morning. It's like, I'm not gonna make, like, you're already doing me this huge favor. I'm not going to impose anything else.
Right. And then there was the Beau feeds ducks at the pond, but can't feed his same species when there are
dude
beggars
that's sprinting at him.
correct. Right.
Apartment.
So everything he's doing, she's using as,
Yeah, it's like, everything. They're like these scales, and she's just weighing everything against him.
Right.
And then I think the big kind of
Reveal.
if though facto, or the next big reveal is the therapist walks out.
Okay.
Oh yeah, before that
Right.
one, the therapist walks out.
Right, he was in on it.
Has all the recording sessions between them. And she said what's her favorite, and it was like something from 2018 where I forget what he admits, but it's obviously not to the mother's liking.
It's like that he says the conditional love.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he says it's like she must always expect something in return.
Yeah, she was showing me so much. She shows me so much love, but if I didn't give it back to her in the way that she wanted, she would get upset. And that's where she remarks like, "Oh, too much love. Oh, I'm such a monster." And it's like, "Oh my God, Jesus!"
It's like those are Beau's true thoughts.
So I think some people in our group chat, said this film could be triggering. I think their whole dynamic can be triggering because that's what some people very much go through. Yes. Not just very much parental, but could come in forms of really any kind of relationship can come in that kind of conditional.
Is this generational trauma?
I wouldn't call it generational trauma just because we don't really know.
The
moms. We don't know the moms come up.
Yeah, the mom, Mona's mother. She explained how Mona's mother treated her.
Mona says it's like I could never do anything to make her proud, to be in her good graces. She kind of says it, that no matter how hard I tried, my mom didn't value me, didn't give me love.
And that's when you see that picture in the background of like that scowling.
Oh, that scary.
That's why it was
funny.
That's her mother.
And then it's like it kind of. So you then have that kind of drives Mona's obsession with love. She wants the love that her mother never gave her, and to a certain point where she finally has her son, she says, it's like he must love me and only me and no one and nothing else, and manipulates him to the freaking point where it's like she just brainwashes him, molds him to be afraid of everything else in the world except, to a certain degree, her. That she is the only thing in his life, the only son that he shall adore. That's what Mona goes for. And everything that she does is for Beau to be afraid of everything else except her, and love only her. Granted, Beau has his feelings, and like we see them in the therapy sessions, and she goes to that extent to say, wow, I want to know even the deepest, darkest recesses of Beau's feelings.
No, I agree. I mean, that's manipulation 101. And that therapist needs to be fired. Like,
oh, well, obviously he's not. I mean, he's a therapist.
He's a real thing. He's a real
but
therapist. He's got to be licensed.
Yes, he clearly went against therapeutic contract. Privileges,
Ethics,
right?
professionalism.
Yeah.
Right. So
It's
from
a
there,
role-
I guess you can call it generational trauma. Then,
Yeah, because it all stems. Everything that happens in this movie, everything that Mona does, is a response of the lack of love and acceptance that she received from her mother.
That seems to be the common thread with a lot of movies these last couple years. Turning red.
I would say this one just gives you
everything
this
everywhere all at once.
right.
Generational trauma. It's the name of the game, baby. You could tell an emotional story. Generational trauma.
I think just the medium this one chooses to tell its story is just wildly different.
Oh yeah,
as far
for
as
sure. For sure.
Yeah. And then the trauma continues. Beau he does stand up for himself a little bit. He's like, I want to know what happened to my father.
What we know of. I see different interpretations with this. Some it's that bathtub scene, right?
It's the bathtub scene.
The bathtub scene. And you've seen it before where, Mona, she's reprimanding Beau for not wanting to take a bath. And some people interpret this as Beau originally. They're like, hey, this is Beau. This is young Beau just acting up. But then you're also seeing the person from the point of view of the bathtub also being Beau. And what happens? Mona puts this, she drags this boy over to the attic. She's like, all right, you want to know about your dad? Here, go up there. And then she locks him away. And you never know, like, you assumed, is that Beau that she did that to? Is that just like a repressed memory? Was it
Beau just looking at himself? Right.
Right.
She says, let's go find out.
Now, right? As an adult, she's like, all right, Beau, you want to see your dad? Let's go. Come on. Go up there.
And she's like, you idiot. That wasn't a dream. That was a memory.
No. Oh, no. You got to build that up.
What do you mean?
She doesn't. No, she doesn't say that until she closes the door. She is boating him to go up into the attic.
Yes.
Beau is terrified to go into the attic. He does not want to go in there. But she's doing that manipulation where she's coddling him, saying, don't worry, Beau. I'm right behind you. Don't worry. I'll be there, right there with you. I'm climbing up there with you. And right when he's at the top, she closes the door and says, you idiot. That wasn't... what was it? That wasn't
a dream. That was a memory.
Boom! Then she closes the door. Now he's stuck up, and that Ari Aster at his best. You're like, what the hell is up here? What's going on? Beau's like, try to hit his flashlight. It first goes to like a person, and then you're like, what the hell? This person has a shackle, and he's like, he has shackled. Like, he's shackled as well. And you're like, who is this? Is that his dad, or is it someone else? And you start hearing this gurgling noise from pitch blackness.
See you, Beau. My Beau.
And he hits in the flat. Once you see the reveal, it's a giant cock. And it's like, what in the hell? It's like a demonic, like monster cock. It's there's an enemy like that in Persona. It's literally like a monster demon cock in a chariot.
I had to make sure we were looking at a penis. I looked at you and I said, is that a penis?
I was like, yes.
So like that scene, I was just like, whoa, wait, what?
That's
two things.
That's where your mind is like, okay, is this real? Like, is that an actual monster penis? Or is this like in Beau's head? Is this like a metaphor to something? What is this?
I think that's the whole point, is that there are moments where you can definitively say that this is literal and this is happening. And there are times where I think that's the whole point. He wants to drive you crazy thinking about whether or not this is actually happening, or is this more of a metaphor or in his psyche. I think that's the point, because I can't tell you if that penis monster is real, or if Beau really has a twin brother locked up there, because that's what that was.
Some people thought instead of being Beau, he had a brother.
He had a
that she
brother. He
locked
did.
away.
She did. And you could tell, there was a bowl up there. She kept him fed.
Right.
And I guess the penis monster lived up there too. Mind you, Jeeves runs in here too and tries to kill
Jeeves
the
just
thing.
crashes in from
Jeeves
the
out of
window.
nowhere comes out like from the freaking deck, just like starts stabbing.
He first throws a knife at Beau's head, and it just goes gunk. It hits him in the head, so he falls. I'm like, okay, I guess you're not gonna kill him.
This is probably the scene where Joaquin Phoenix was telling people, be mindful of what you do if you go watch this movie.
Oh, that's right. He said to not go don't go in with mind altering
substances. Right.
Substances.
Because honestly, this scene right here, oh goodness.
What would this have done to you, Grandmaster?
I don't know, because I don't partake in such things.
I see. You're correct.
Yeah.
You're correct.
But I'm telling you right now, this movie is already wildly I don't know, absurd. To this scene, Ari Aster is scary, man. This stuff is scary. The fact that I can't distinguish whether or not is this real or not makes me, that's too much of a thought process going on. I think that's scary. I think in itself, and again, I can with Midsommar again. I find the most horrific part about Midsommar is just how realistic it is, and then when you watch this film, I just feel the scariest part is just trying to distinguish what's real or what not. And I think that sometimes can be scary, because there are probably some people who, I don't know, maybe go up in an attic and do see a giant penis monster and they think it's real and they can't discern whether or not it's real, and that can be scary. Oh, my ball. And then
I think the fact that it was talking made it even more just funny.
Right. And what? So he goes back down, right?
He falls back down into the main floor. Again, the whole coddling thing. He's apologizing to his mother, saying, "You were right. I'm sorry. That was traumatic." And she's like, almost wanting to receive that. She's like, "I'm sorry, Beau. I told you it wasn't good. I told you it was not a good idea." But then once she sees the coddling from him, she switches back to her manipulation mode. She's like, "Oh, it took that to finally get you to love me again." And you get this scene, and I feel like I can't do it enough justice. It's just something you have to watch yourself, because I think you as an audience member kind of feel this in your own mind. You're like, how dare she? How dare she do this to this guy, this boy? He's still a boy in his head in a lot of ways. And she's just badgering him, and it's culminating to a word that she's gonna say. Because at this point, she might as well say it. And it's the big H. It's the H word. It's the big H. You never want to say it. Hate.
Oh.
She is going to say, "I hate you." But before she can even get that out, this got me scared. Boom.
Snaps.
Right at the throat. Doesn't
Snaps.
even let her finish. He cannot hear that from the person that his entire life has been centered around, has been dedicated to in his own way. But it's like if those words escape her lips, he's broken.
And that was another scary moment. That was a really scary moment.
It was very scary. I feel like you almost I couldn't see the white in Joaquin Phoenix's eyes. I don't know if that was
black.
They did actually go black?
Yeah, I think like aesthetically, like they colored in, a little bit.
Okay. I don't know if it was just the lighting or whatever, but yeah, it was scary. It was scary. He snaps back to, and he's like, "Oh, mother, I'm so sorry. Are you okay? You can breathe, right?" She's in disbelief. Boom, dies. Falls into the glass table. Therapist is there in the corner smiling.
He's taking notes too.
He's taking notes. He's taking notes.
A weirdo. And okay. So mother's dead. Therapist took notes. Then Beau does this weird run out of the
He
house.
doesn't run, he walks.
It's a run. He's like this.
It's a walk. He's walking with his mouth agape.
His mouth.
His
That's
mouth
the
is just
audience. He's like, what did I just watch?
And he finds his way to the shore because he had been having dreams about like the boat. Makes his way up on the boat, heading to the mountains. Very scenic, very peaceful moment for him. It's very at a peace moment. He is kind of shook about what just transpired, but he then comes between two crevices and he continues on, and suddenly boat stops, floodlights on. There is a stadium of people, and at the forefront of the stadium is his mother, alive again with her attorney. And Beau is on trial for all the crimes and atrocities he has committed towards
The war crimes
against his mother. Dr. Jason, I think you explained this scene pretty well. I'm gonna let you have it.
Well, so what? She, like you said, all the atrocities and war crimes that Beau has committed is put on trial. His lawyer, her lawyer, Mona's lawyer, is just kind of inciting the mob mentality of the audience that's like, surrounding Beau. And Beau, in his best efforts, trying to defend himself. At the same time, he also has a defense attorney off in the corner. And he's spouting things like, liar, it's not true. He couldn't make the flight. He lost his keys. But his voice is drowned out, right? And it's one of those things where the defense lawyer is speaking his truth, but no one wants to hear it. And I feel like this scene, I feel like the stadium, the audience, is supposed to represent us in a way, in some interpretations. I feel like that represents you as a movie watcher watching this tragedy. You're just there for the spectacle. You're there to be quote unquote entertained in some capacity. And you're watching this mayhem unfold. And the defense lawyer that's trying to defend Beau and say like none of these things he did are wrong. That's kind of like you talking in your own mind. Like, you as an audience member, you're not going to be the guy to stand up in the theater and be like, how dare you leave Beau alone? You're just saying these inner thoughts like that defense attorney, but no one wants to hear it, because if you speak up, someone's going to throw you off the cliff. Someone's going to throw you and splatter your brains on the rocks. So keep your mouth shut and watch this entertainment. And again, ultimately what happens? Beau is sentenced to death for his atrocities, and his feet can't move from the boat. Boat flips over. He drowns underwater. As he's struggling, the audience, the people in the Coliseum, show's over. Let's leave.
Start leaving, and the end credits.
And the end credits play during that scene.
Yeah, while the people are leaving.
And I think in a way that represents us again. It's like, hey, the show's over. Entertainment's done. Tragic story. Boo-hoo. Now you go home.
It's kind of like that scene is pretty much Beau putting himself, like, he's his own judge, jury, and executioner in that scene.
Yeah.
It just like goes to show the hold that the mother had on him, right? That he was just like in this constant battle within himself. Like the guilt ate him alive. And even though he was like saying like, oh, but I did this, like even like a part of him was feeling this guilt of like, oh, that he couldn't do all this or live up to like whatever his mom asked of him. And eventually it tore him apart.
And I feel two things happened. He accepted it.
Yep.
Because he didn't struggle at the very end.
I think it was just like a feeling of helplessness.
Right.
And I think this entire sequence is in his head.
Yes.
I don't, this final sequence, the whole thing with like going into the boat and then going into like this trial sequence. I think he actually did kill his mother in that sequence in the house. But this whole thing is his guilt in his head. He's like Dr. Mondo said, he's his own judge, jury, and executioner. He's putting himself on trial, and the guilt is just coming for what he's done. And because even Mona up in the audience stands, she has the bruise on her neck, so you know it happened. Yeah. But it's in his head of what's going on right now. Whether or not him getting flipped over is as a representation of like he killed himself, or his guilt caused him to just like go into like this deep depression.
Yeah, it leaves it really up in the open. I really think that it leaves it open. But if you were to ask me I feel that he killed himself. I feel that Beau killed himself.
And there's also a moment of Mona's up there too, saying, no, wait, this is too much.
At the end.
Yeah,
like after,
at the very end.
And that's the thing. Whenever Beau is physically in pain, that's where her motherly, feelings kick in. Because like, when Beau's in pain from, or I guess emotionally in pain from having seen his father up in the attic, she's kind of coddling him in a way. But then she switches back to her manipulation. Same thing here. She's like, you see her gripping the railing, like just angry at all the things that Beau has done to her. But then when he's drowning and about to die, and he does die in this mind sequence, she's doing what you said. She's saying, oh, my Beau, my boy. And it's like, my God.
Because again, it's what I was trying to say. Like, that's like the art of manipulation, you have to still keep them in.
Right. You don't, you push them away far enough, but you got to do enough to bring them back.
And not only that, remember, Mona, her entire existence, everything that's going on is because Mona desires to be loved.
Right.
Mona desires to be loved, and she doesn't want him to hate her. Right. Because if she didn't care what happened to, like in Mona's mind, if he were to die, no one would love her. It's a very mutually parasitic relationship to a certain degree. That it's like she manipulates him to the point where she has made him believe that she is the only person in his life that he must not be afraid of. And like she manipulates him to get his love, but obviously knows when to step back and like coddle him and kind of tell him like the world is a shitty place. Almost like
she knows how to play the game.
No, yeah, almost like Frodo and Quasimodo. Let's say, the world is a horrible place.
Wow, yeah. That's a
it's a reminder of, remember, I'm here.
The world is cruel, the world is wicked, and all that kind of stuff. But I am the only one that will take care of you.
Or mother knows best.
Or mother knows best. All this stuff.
Yeah.
And again, but she can't she knows when to step back because she's not going to push Beau away completely because she desires to be loved. She wants to be the object of somebody's love, and the only one that loves her in her mind is Beau.
Pretty much. It's it's tragic. Like that's practically the end of the movie.
That's the end. That's definitely the end.
No, yeah, it is. There's no post-credit scene. There's no MCU spin at the end. Thank God there's not.
There's no Kong the Conqueror coming back from the dead.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, from there it just kind of it makes you reflect. Like again, this is a movie that I kind of want to see again. I don't know if I can sit through the entire movie for three. I already have this thing about rewatching movies that I've already seen, but this is a movie that I would want to see again because it made me think this much after the movie, and I feel like I'll pick up on things watching the movie again.
I could watch this one again for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
This is for me to watch a movie again, it has to be like a pretty good movie or like I would say a very interesting movie. And this is definitely
a very interesting movie. Yeah.
This is definitely one movie that I could easily watch again. And I know I'm gonna come out of the movie theater with a very different perspective.
Oh yeah. I could have a different perspective too, having watched this movie a second time. And I think that's the fun in watching it. And I guess it ultimately comes down to now, like, how do you compare it to Ari Aster's other flicks? I mean, I can only compare it to Hereditary, two very different films. If you want straight horror, you watch Hereditary. If you want horror comedy, but the comedy done in the vein of like it's absurd what's going on, but it's unsettling at the same time, you watch Beau is Afraid. Some people and the thing is, I feel like people's reception to the movie is going to be different. Some people are not going to like this movie in the sense that it's too long. What's going on?
It is his longest film of the three, I'm pretty sure.
Right. And because of just how crazy certain things go, like some people, like I said earlier, if you don't give yourself to the movie, that you're probably not gonna have a good time. You're gonna feel those 3 hours. You're definitely gonna feel it in that theater play. Because that theater play, even though I gave myself to it, that theater play in the forest, that in a way almost took me out because I'm like, it just lasted too long. It was like a good 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, Jesus, I get it. It's telling me something about what Beau's life could have been, but let me get back to Beau. Let me get back to the present. But again, some people really love the theater scene. I've seen some reception of the theater scene. People really like it.
I like
me. Yeah.
I liked it. It was really well done. Like the animation that they used there.
That was good. That was good.
Amazing. But yeah, like this is a very, very interesting movie. Honestly, I think I saw the trailer of this like a week before.
I think I saw the first trailer that came out.
And I was like, I didn't know what to expect,
Right.
I went to the movie and I was, it's definitely a movie that you're not gonna go there just to, let's say, have some popcorn and just like sit back and relax. It's not that type of movie. And that's why I can feel that like some people are not gonna like it. It's not everyone's vibe. It's a movie that's going to, as you said, if you kind of let yourself be taken away by the movie and go along with the ride, it's a hell of an experience. It's a roller coaster. It is an emotional roller coaster, this movie. But you have to be willing to let yourself go for the ride.
Right. Grandmaster, I know you don't like doing these, but you're the only one here.
Oh, you're gonna ask me to rank them?
I want you to rank the trilogy of Ari Aster here, right now. I don't want to hear they're so different. What can
they are completely different.
I want you to right now, bam, rank them because you're the only one here that's watched all three.
Oh goodness. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to horror films, because I would put all these as horror, obviously varying
horror
degrees.
genre.
Varying degrees.
Different subgenres.
Right. What it comes down to is which one do I not want to watch again, because it freaked me out so much that it's too much for me. So number one being I will never watch this again, right? So 3, I put Beau's Afraid. I can easily watch this film again. Think, as y'all said, you could pick it apart, find things you missed the first time, and make better sense of kind of what's going on. 2, I put it Hereditary, because Hereditary, I like a good scare. I think Hereditary is definitely scary. And 3, number 1, Midsummer. I will never watch that movie again. I'm telling you
dramatic.
right now. It's too real. It's too real for me.
It's Midsummer. Midsummer hits like a fucking truck.
Yeah, no. I will never watch that movie again.
When it comes to like horror, like I am not a horror guy, and they're like very select horror flicks that I like. For a horror flick to like impact me, it has to be like really good or very like disturbing. One of those, it's like I would say Midsummer is one of them, and the other one's like The Shining. Those are like traumatic horror movies.
Right.
But yeah, like but I think I didn't see Hereditary, so I would have to see it. But if I loved Beau was Afraid. I honestly loved it. I love mindfuck movies.
This
I love
was
mindfuck.
definitely in that vein.
I love mindfuck series. I love mindfuck movies. This is one of them, and I loved it.
Let me ask you both this: Do you see this as Joaquin Phoenix's second feat for Oscar bait potentially, or
I mean,
or maybe even the film in general as Oscar bait?
I can see this. I can see this movie being nominated.
I can see being nominated. Yeah,
I can see this movie. Obviously, I don't know what other movies are gonna come out that are
Still got the rest of the year. Yeah,
we got I know Sisu is coming out this weekend, and Sisu critics are raving about that movie. Like, it's John Wick meets Mad Max from what they're saying. So I can easily see this movie being nominated because like it's such an intricate movie. The way it's filmed, like the script, everything, and the plot itself, everything, the screenplay, everything. It's so intricate. And Joaquin Phoenix, needless to say, always kills it. Joaquin Phoenix is just, honestly, like right now, one of the best actors you're gonna see on the big screen, like at this moment in time.
Yeah, no, I agree. Grandmaster, you were gonna say?
No, I think I think this movie's probably gonna get overlooked, and we talked about this in I think the Oscars post pod, where horror often gets overlooked.
True.
I brought up in defense of Get Out as being a giant hit at the Academy Awards, to where it was nominated Best Picture, Director, Actor, and Screenplay, and it took home Screenplay. I could see this potentially getting a Screenplay.
I can see it getting Best Actor, and you know what? You know what surprised me a lot about this movie? So, I went to see it, and the theater was packed.
Oh, our theater was
empty.
No, like mine was packed. On a Thursday, I think like 6 p.m., something like that. No, wait, I think I saw it. Yeah, Thursday at around 6 p.m. ish, something like that, or 9 p.m. ish. It was pretty full at least here in Chicago. So like a lot of people, or there was like a fan base or like a following of this movie beforehand. So that kind of surprised me, but yeah, maybe it was just, like very small sample size here, right? I can see it for sure. Screenplay, it's gonna get nominated. That I have no doubt whatsoever. I feel it can be one of those dark horses of nominations, as in one of those dark horses of the movies in the year that will be nominated. I'm not saying it's gonna win Best Picture, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
It's like one of those movies that I can see it getting nominated, and justifiably so.
I'm not gonna. It's still very early in 2023.
I agree.
So I'm not gonna say it's a for sure thing. I can see it getting in screenplay, but also, I mean, yes, Joaquin is good. However, I feel we've seen varying degrees of this Joaquin Phoenix before.
Although, granted, I think, wait, is it going to be in 2024? He has another movie coming out, I think, Napoleon.
That is coming out this year, I'm pretty sure.
So Napoleon, I'm just going to say, when it comes to Joaquin Phoenix, I would stay tuned for that movie. And that movie kind of draws in a little bit into what like Oscars like.
Yeah, it's probably Oscar baited, no doubt.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But people can nominate. I think it's rare, but I think people can be nominated for more than one movie. It's very rare.
Yep.
I'll have to look that up.
But we like, and just like going a little bit into the funny side, what we already know, one Oscar winner for sure.
Ant-Man.
No. Peaches.
I'm not even going
God.
to say that because
Fair enough.
but I think Beau is Afraid is definitely a contender. I think this is a film for people to go out and see. And again, people have been asking, how was it? I just go watch it. I think that's
go along for the ride.
Go blind.
If people have listened to us talk about this much, I would have hoped they already watched it.
I really
if not, I hope we inspired you to watch it, because just talking about it, I feel is not enough. There is a visual component that should elevate everything that we've said and then some. So go watch this film. Give us your opinion. Let us know what you think about Beau is Afraid. Potential early Oscar contender. Third outing for Ari Aster and Joaquin Phoenix at his best. So go check out Beau is Afraid. But without further ado, folks, that's it from us here at the Yonko table on Beau is Afraid. I'm your host, Grandmaster Hoop, fellow Yonko, Dr. Jace Attorney, Supernova, Dr. Mondo. We invite you to go follow us on all our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Thank you for already listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and varying podcast stations. And of course, again, we love to hear from you. Check us out on Discord and join the discourse there. And then, we'd love to hear what you think about Beau is Afraid. How shall we close this out?
I'm afraid to leave you.
You'll always be my baby.